Hey guys, my name is Chris. I'm a graphic designer here at Butler Branding, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit about the process that I take in developing an identity. More specifically, the identity I created for one of our more recent clients, Central Valley Medical Imaging, CVMI for short.
Guys, you've asked for it, so here it is.
I'm Matt Ledger. I'm Butler Branding's content strategist and copywriter.
My name is Art Zaragoza. I'm the digital marketing director for Butler Branding.
Hey guys, my name is Chris. I'm a graphic designer here at Butler Branding.
This is going to be a YouTube series called, The Process.
So the first step that I take before I begin designing or even putting pencil to paper is that I like to review what is called a discovery document. This document is prepared by our brand strategist, Sean, after he meets with the client. And the purpose of this document is that it helps our team get to know more about a particular client. I've learned over the past years that the more I get to know about a company, the better chance I have at coming up with something clever. So one of the key takeaways from this discovery was that they mentioned they like the symbolism of a lotus flower and or a flame. A lotus flower because it communicates a feeling of calmness, and a flame because it communicates light, which is what is used for imaging. They also mentioned they don't like the idea of using human body stuff as part of their logo, which is something I would have avoided anyway, but still helpful to know. And lastly, they wanted something that was bright, modern, simple, easily reproducible, and creative. So the next step that I take in the design process is I research our clients' competitors, both direct and indirect, as well as the industry itself. There are three primary reasons why I do this. First is that it helps me to avoid accidentally imitating the identity of an already established brand. Secondly is that it helps me to come up with design ideas that will help our client stand out from the crowd. And lastly, for inspiration purposes. And so what I mean by that is that I like to borrow ideas from other competitors and mesh them with my own ideas to create something new. So based on the discovery document and the research conducted, I then put my initial thoughts and ideas onto paper, which is the third step in the design process. I'm by no means the most talented artist in the world or even in the office, but that's totally fine and not point of this step. The purpose of the sketching phase is to just generate ideas without really focusing on perfection. It's where creativity comes into play and you can let your ideas run wild. So here you can see one of the original pages of sketches I did for CVMI. As you can see, the drawings are loose and rough, but the essence of the idea is there. I normally don't use color during the sketching process, but thought it was necessary for this particular identity. So yeah, the challenge in this step was to find a way to incorporate a lotus flower and or flame into the logo while maintaining the mark as simple as possible. Once I have a sufficient number of concept sketch, I then move forward to the next step, which is translating them onto the computer. Here I further develop my concepts and begin exploring color options and typography treatments for the logo. You can see all the logo variations I created based on the sketches I drew. I like to create two sets of icons, one set in black and white and other in color. The reason I do this is to see which icons rely too much on color and which ones hold well in only black and white. Of the dozens of icons I designed, I thought this tri-leaf mark here was the strongest because it met the requirements that the client requested, which was it needed to be simple, modern, and creative. Also, a cool thing about this mark is that if you look at the negative space, you can see an implied letter V, which can stand for CVMI's commitment to the Valley. Very similar to the way an arrow is implied between the E and the X in the FedEx logo. By the end of this phase, I should feel confident with at least two concepts before moving forward to the next step. In the fifth and final step, I placed the two strongest concepts in two separate visual presentations that we call stylescapes. And a stylescape is essentially a collection of brand assets such as color, typography, photography, among other elements that provide an overall visual aesthetic of a brand. So this is one of the two stylescapes I created and one that ultimately was chosen by the client. Here you can see the logo in various formats as well as the logic behind the idea of the identity. You can see the primary font and colors I selected alongside the photography style I felt was appropriate to the brand. I also included some logo mock-ups such as renderings of the design on a building, a uniform, and print material. This helps the client visualize their logo in a real-world setting and rather it just floating on a white background. So that's pretty much it. So whether you're a designer wanting to improve your logo design process or simply a business person curious about the design aspect of branding, I hope this video has helped you understand the fundamental steps in creating an identity.
So what I have right now is this is the discovery document that I walked through with the client live in person. So I don't have any footage of that